Well, hello everybody, welcome in. I hope that you're good, and we should be back after our little sort of hiatus and troubles. But today we're going to talk about how you can potentially look to take down Dynamax Zapdos. That's right, the second Kanto Dynamax Legendary that's coming into Max Mondays this Monday coming. And to be honest, it's looking like Zapdos is going to be a little bit more of a challenge than Articuno was. And I know Articuno presented its own fair share of problems. This thing, you will not be able to solo it, even if you have prime team of double Gigantamax Lapras and Gigantamax Toxtricity. But we'll wait to see confirmation on that, of course. So let's jump straight into what Pokemon you might want to utilize and prioritize in terms of getting max particles, powering up the max moves. Is going to be basically the same format as Articuno, 800 max particles to take on one of these battles. You won't have those particles taken unless you successfully defeat the max boss, which is good, of course. Party of 4. That is key, and make sure this party of 4 you guys have the right counters. So Zapdos is an electric flying type, of course, making it weak to only two things: Rock, which we have no Dynamax at all covering that typing, so we're stuck with the Ice type weakness. And Ice type weakness is fairly thin on the ground, to be honest, with the Dynamax stuff. The Hundo you'd be looking for is 2015, of course. And jumping straight into the best attackers, Dynamax Cryogonal is up there, being basically the only mono Ice type Dynamax Pokemon we have available at this given moment. Gigantamax Toxtricity with neutral damage, Spark, and obviously its electric move, G-Max move, will be quite good. The standard Dynamax Toxtricity is up there, and then you're very much into sort of generalists and tanks, really, with Gigantamax Gengar, Dynamax Gengar, Metagross, and Lapras are personally the ones I'm going to recommend you guys get in case you need a generalist or a tank. Dynamax Articuno is somewhere down there. Of course, there's no tiering on this list, but Dynamax Articuno is fairly weak to the electric moves that Zapdos will throw at you. And I will give a shout out to Pokémon GO Hub on this, because there's some good information here. Appreciate the guys over there putting together the guides for us. So, at the present time, there are very few super effective counters versus Zapdos, unfortunately, with its rock and ice weaknesses. While G-Max Lapras may have a fast ice type attack available, Water Gun is quicker to spam and charge up the max meter, and actually because it's a G-Max mon, G-Max Lapras is locked into the Ice type G-Max move, so you don't have to worry about the fast TM changing that typing. Obviously, the attackers are the things that have the attack stat and the attack max move all the way. Tier 3, I'd recommend getting your Tier 3 attack stat and Tier 3 other max moves as much as you can do. In terms of defenders, you've got a different play here. Dynamax Excadrill with Metal Claw should be somewhat neutral, but Excadrill will basically tank those electric moves from Zapdos, and it should do okay with the flying moves given its ground steel typing. G-Max Toxtricity and Dynamax Toxtricity are up there, and then you're into the Venusaur, Gigantamax, and Dynamax, but bear in mind those two are grass-type Pokemon and they will be weak to the flying moves that Dynamax Zapdos will present. Metagross is also in there as well. I would personally, again, recommend one of those, but Excadrill would be a pretty good pick. I, of course, am going to put the link to this article in the description below if you want to go and have a look at it yourself. The main problem with Zapdos, you're going to have to watch out for its moves that it presents, because it, of course, learns Thunder and other electric moves, as well as Drill Peck, which is a flying move. That's going to wipe out the 3 grass types you're presented with in the defending tier. Now, looking at the best healers, it's somewhat similar. You have Dynamax Excadrill up there, so if you have some Excadrill, and I saw a lot of people using Excadrill versus Articuno, so get those guard and heal moves maxed to tier 3 if you can do this week. Ignoring Machamp, Venusaur, and Venusaur, Metagross and Greedent should be okay. Greedent being a normal typing should be okay, and Metagross will basically tank the Zapdos moves, as I said. The reason to avoid Machamp, in my view, even though you could theoretically get Rock Slide as a charge move on it, it doesn't have access to a Rock or Ice type Dynamax move, and of course it's weak to flying as well, just like Venusaur, so really you're going to struggle with that. If we jump into the game now, there's something I wanted to show you. We've done a few G-Max Cryogonal, which I'm going to work on and see if I can get a better one. We're going to avoid the Articuno personally, but there is a Lapras Gigantamax in here, which I'm going to currently work on getting higher level, 96% on the old stats. So we're going to power this up, and I would say get your counters to level 40. Don't worry about level 50 right now, because of course Articuno was soloed using 3 level 40 G-Max Pokemon. So level 40, this 96% at 2619, you'll see I've got Water Gun as the fast move, but it still has level 1 G-Max Resonance, that's the word. We're going to keep things as they are. We're going to slowly unlock Guard, and the spirit moves on this G-Max Mon, and hopefully build this up to be a bit of a tank. Because again, this could be utilized as a tank versus Moltres in 2 weeks' time, which I think is not a bad call, to be honest. That's that. What I need to do is put more max particles into it and go and spin some stops or interact with some max points over the next couple of days. Let's format a team, shall we? Something else ahead of the Dynamax Mondays or any Dynamax battle you're going to do, you may not know this, but if you head to your battle tab, God forbid the GBL circuit at the moment, but if you head to your parties and scroll all the way to the bottom, you can find power spots. You can actually build a team for power spots. And what we're going to do now is set one up for, if we look at our Dynamax and G-Max Pokemon, if we look at combat power, there is a 96% Excadrill somewhere that has all max moves. That is going into slot number 1 for now. We'll shuffle things around. There is a Lapras that we definitely want with the G-Max Resonance. And in terms of attack, this is where we're a little bit up a certain creek without a paddle, because my Cryogonal here, Frost Breath and Solar Beam, not the best moves, but it doesn't have particularly good stats. So what I think we're going to do for the attacker right now, G-Max Toxtricity is now back up and running with the G-Max Stun Shock, and that is there as our party of 3. So you can see a little bit of a difference between the two. I would also recommend looking to get some mons ready for Moltres. We'll have a proper guide for Moltres later on the channel here, given that everything is now back up and running with A-OK security-wise. So a few little tips here for Moltres. We still don't have a Rock Dynamax, so you're going to be taking it on with Electric and Water, and thankfully there are quite a few more counters for that. G-Max Blastoise, G-Max Toxtricity, and of course G-Max Lapras, but that is going to play more of a role of a spamming up the fast moves for the max meter and then swapping out and being a bit of a tank. We have Inteleon, we have Dynamax Blastoise, of course, and we'll have Zapdos at that point as well. So if you get a good Zapdos, work on that ahead of Moltres. But I hope that's provided some little tips and tricks there, to be honest. What I would recommend you do is utilize what's known as your tank. In this case, for me, it will be Excadrill or Lapras. Spam the fast moves to build up the max meter. Make sure that you dodge the moves that you can do when the 3 little alerts appear at the top of your Pokemon. Then you should be able to get the max energy that's appearing next to your Pokemon when it does. And of course, when you get the chance to Dynamax or G-Max, switch to your attacker. In my case, for now, that would be Toxtricity Gigantamax doing the most damage. However, this all then comes down to who are you going to be playing in a team with? And that is going to be a critical point, is who has what G-Max moves, who has what's max spirit up, leveled up, etc. Verify who's in your team. Try and coordinate your groups, see who's got the defenders, see who's got the healing, see who has the attackers, and you can play it by ear as you go. If you feel like you're dying very quickly, maybe a bit more healing and shielding will be necessary. If you're doing okay, 2 out of your 4 do the damage, do the G-Max or Dynamax attacks, and you should be okay. Of course, if you haven't done so already, you can go and check out my Dynamax Articuno video, which is linked up there, and it'll be at the end screen as well, if you want to have a look at what a Max Monday session looks like. And we did actually take one down on the old Spotlight Hour for Paldean Wooper together. Team of 4, easily done, despite 2 accounts lagging out. So I hope that has been fairly useful for you all. So I'll say, if you haven't done so already, please do consider hitting that subscribe button down below for more Pokemon Go content and tips and tricks and vlogs and God knows what. And of course, we wouldn't be here were it not for the fantastic Patreon squad, who really are the backbone, an enormously helpful squad of people helping support the channel, taking it that much further and allowing me the scope to be able to expand the content range here and provide more entertainment here on the channel. And I really do appreciate every single one of you who has been on the tier list, whether it's years at this point or weeks or months. Every single one of you is critical to the support of this channel, so thank you so very much. And of course, go and check out one of the 2 videos there on the screen for you if you enjoyed what you saw here. The Dynamax Articuno, definitely recommend checking that out. But as I said in that video, don't worry too much if you're unable to take on these battles right now, because later down the road they will become more accessible. That's how Pokemon Go's roadmap works, people. Right now, they're a little bit tricky to get hold of, but they'll become more readily available later down the road. And I've got a few to trade if you really, really want to. So I'll say until the next time, folks, do take care.